So just yesterday, I gave an update on President Biden's meeting in the White House with Israeli Prime Minister Naftali Bennett. And just as Bennett lands back home in Israel, this morning we wake up to these headlines. Israeli Defense Minister Gantz meets Abu Mazen in Ramallah after Bennett and Biden meet. In rare meeting, Gantz holds talks with PA President Abbas in Ramallah. No Israeli government official has met a representative of the terror-supporting Palestinian Authority in over 10 years, since Obama pressured Netanyahu to do that. So what is going on? Why this meeting? Why this meeting now? And did Bennett, the right-wing Prime Minister of Israel, know about this meeting, even though he knows that no peace deals can be made with that terrorist organization? So if he did know about it, did he allow the meeting or did he not allow the meeting? Well, let's dive into this one. It has serious, serious repercussions. Folks, as you know, social media censorship is growing. The best way to support our video work for Israel is to subscribe to our video newsletter on pulseofisrael.com and to share our videos. If you are already a subscriber, then thank you. So before his trip to meet President Biden in Washington, D.C., Prime Minister Bennett gave over the following message in an interview to the New York Times. Bennett told the Times the following: "There would not be a resolution of the conflict with the Palestinians for the foreseeable future, and that his government will neither annex any part of the West Bank, Judea and Samaria, nor establish a Palestinian state." End quote from his interview with the New York Times. Okay, so all right-wing Israelis are now disappointed, since Bennett himself was the Israeli politician who first pushed for Israel to apply sovereignty in Judea and Samaria as the only way forward towards a peaceful future with our Arab Muslim neighbors. At the same time, the left-wing Israelis, whose political parties are all partners in this government under Bennett, will also be disappointed because Bennett won't work towards the establishment of a Palestinian state, which the leftists want in order to get rid of the Jewish ancestral lands of Judea and Samaria, which is unwanted baggage by the left, not because getting rid of Judea and Samaria will bring peace, but because getting rid of it weakens the Jewish character and connection to our homeland, which is actually the main goal of the left, because peace with our Arab Muslim neighbors has been proven won't take place. So why did Bennett give over this message before his meeting with President Biden at the White House? Well, for two reasons. Number one, he wanted to calm President Biden and his administration that he won't be taking any steps in Judea and Samaria that would upset the Biden administration or his left-wing government, meaning no application of sovereignty in Judea and Samaria, even though it was his own plan, Bennett's plan, towards a peaceful future. And number two, Bennett wanted to calm the right-wing flank in Israel, that even though he leads a left-wing government, that he will not allow pressure from the Biden administration to start fake peace talks. Even though he's the prime minister of a radical left government, he will not be a left-wing prime minister implementing the radical left's peace process, which really just extends our conflict with more terror and death, and actually pushing any possibility for a true peace further and further away. So Bennett knows that, and he's saying, I'm not going to do it. But based on this message, it seems pretty clear that there is no reason for any meetings between high-level Israeli officials and high-level Palestinian Authority officials, and definitely not moments after a meeting with the US president. Seems too coincidental. Yet we woke up this morning to the following headlines, as I said earlier, showing us pretty clearly that the top defense official in Israel met the terror leader of the Palestinian Authority. So Israel's government just had a high-level meeting. Did Bennett approve this? Well, on the one hand, some media are reporting that Prime Minister Bennett approved the meeting and is downplaying its significance. As the headline says, Prime Minister's office downplays Gantz-Abbas meeting, says there won't be peace talks. However, in the Israeli paper Haaretz, it reported that Bennett was updated about the meeting afterwards, meaning he had no clue about it. So now he's just playing catch-up. So which is it? We don't know. But my guess is that Prime Minister Bennett had no idea, because there is no reason whatsoever for a high-level Israeli government official, especially at the level of defense minister, to meet the leader of the terror-supporting Palestinian Authority. Definitely not at this time. There's nothing going on. If there is any reason to deal with issues on the day-to-day, then lower-level officials could have met. but no reason for the defense minister, Israel's defense minister, to meet with the leader of the Palestinian Authority. So, either Israel's defense minister, Gantz, is running his own political policy without the consent or approval of the prime minister, and it is a result of possible coordination with the Biden administration going around the prime minister's back, or Prime Minister Bennett knew about this meeting, and it is a result of pressure from the Biden administration. Well, in both cases, we're talking about bad news. Again, there is no reason whatsoever for Bennett to have approved this meeting without pressure from the Biden administration. Nothing's going on. No peace is happening, folks. They support terror. They pay terrorists, the Palestinian Authority. So if this meeting is a result of a rogue policy by Israel's defense minister without coordination with Prime Minister Bennett, then this once again highlights the craziness of this government, which, as I explained in yesterday's video, that due to Bennett only leading a small party of 6 seats in a coalition of 61 seats, that he has no power to stop the acts of ministers from the left-wing parties in his government pushing their own left-wing ideological agenda at the head of the ministries they run. And if Defense Minister Gantz coordinated this with the Biden administration behind Bennett's back, then this is even worse news. Basically, regardless of who or why approved this meeting, it is very bad news. Now, the worst part about it is that this situation only exists because 2 right-wing parties, Bennett's Yamina party, who he said was right of the Likud, and Sa'ar's New Hope party, who used to be part of the Likud, they joined the anti-Netanyahu movement thinking that it was all about replacing Netanyahu. But that wasn't the goal of the anti-Netanyahu movement. Their goal was about returning the progressive ideological left back to political power out of the desert for 20 years. Their egos about replacing Netanyahu is what allowed them to set up this left-wing government, even though Naftali Bennett and Gideon Sa'ar promoted themselves as right-wing nationalist leaders, and here they're leading this left-wing extreme government. Again, even if Bennett holds the same ideological position, his government is left, extreme left, so his personal ideology is moot. So to wrap this all up, again, Prime Minister Bennett meets President Biden. Bennett says quite clearly no peace talks with the Palestinian Authority. Yet immediately after meeting Biden, he is embarrassed by his own defense minister having a meeting with the terror leader of the Palestinian Authority, the first such meeting in over 10 years. And the Prime Minister's office is forced to issue a statement that Bennett knew about the meeting and there's nothing to worry about. Sounds a little fishy to me. Someone I follow on Twitter posted the following message in Hebrew. For 73 years, the government of Israel did not include any Muslim Brotherhood political party in the Israeli government until Bennett became prime minister. For the past 20 years, the progressive left has been left without political power in Israeli governments until Bennett became prime minister. And again, understand the main reason Netanyahu and the right-wing governments were not able to implement right-wing policies when they were in power all these years was because the left still had control over the government bureaucracy, the judicial courts, the universities, and the media. But at least the decision-making at the government level was out of their hands, until now. And finally, for the past 10 years, no Israeli government official has met with any representative of the terror-supporting Palestinian Authority until now with Bennett as prime minister. So again, looking at the whole picture, this is bad news. While Bennett might be prime minister, and he might have sold himself as being more right-wing than Netanyahu, well, this government that he leads is left-wing, a rogue government running policies without his permission, and very, very dangerous. With it all, remember, do not despair. God is in charge, and this is all part of the demasking process of the lies that too many people have believed for too long regarding our politics, journalism, world, etc. While this is certainly bad news, and while the horrible Biden-Harris Afghanistan evacuation is also horrible news and getting a lot of people depressed, hold on to your faith. We will overcome these challenging and confusing times, and our leaders who are really leaving us leaderless. It is up to us to share the truth and hold on to our faith in the one above who is truly running the show.
Pulse of Israel, frontline videos from the Holy Land. Support our work by donating today.